Israel's Special Operations Counterterrorism Unit and founder of Cherries, a leading manufacturer of law enforcement products for terrorism readiness. Aaron, thank you very much for joining us. All right, according to U.S. officials, we struck one IRGC weapon storage area, one ammunition storage area, New Abu Kamal. This is obviously on the Syria-Iraq border. This is the geography of the moment with these U.S. strikes on Iranian-backed facilities in Syria. What does this mean for what happens next? Will we see more response on the part of the United States?
Well, what this means is we're back in the counterterrorism operations business. And the reason why is because we never really went after the true snake. And the true snake here is Iran. Iran is running multiple proxy terror groups. We're seeing it unfold in Gaza right now, which I want to speak to in a minute. But to get to your question, the U.S. is ramping up strikes because of attacks that are being conducted against American soldiers. Messages are being sent right now to the Iranian regime, and the message is very clear, which is Behet das Rossi Dorim, which is you are within our reach. And so I hope everybody on the Iranian side just heard me. And these strikes are critical. We need to continue to focus our efforts on this global new front, which is Iran. Iran is connected to Hamas. Iran funds Hezbollah. Iran funds ISIS and all these other groups that we've been dealing with. And by the way, this isn't our first time operating in and around Syria. There's been an international, secretive special operations unit which personally dismantled ISIS over a period of a decade. And so now the U.S. is getting tough. Biden's being careful. He doesn't want to get too public, and he's trying to sort of set a little benchmark right now. Doesn't want to turn this into a global expansion here. But the fact is that it's already begun. It's already begun. And if we look at Gaza right now as well, let me make this really clear. The ground incursion begun three weeks ago. This is counterterrorism. This is a special operations-driven type of warfare. We learned the last time we were in Gaza, we're not getting sucked into a vacuum, but Israel is neutralizing terrorist leaders by the dozens. Hundreds of sorties are getting flown. Hospitals and all the other public places where Hamas and all these other terror groups are hiding munitions are going to be hit. Israel doesn't have to sell why they're doing this. The double standard is out the window right now. Queen Rania needs to take the Palestinians into Jordan, and Biden needs to continue doing what he's doing, and he can continue posturing and saying we're not escalating here. But I know, and I will tell you, that the global war on terror has now begun to have the teeth it needs to dismantle Khomeini and the Ayatollahs and the mullahs in Iran who are financing proxy terror groups that will target the Western world. Israel is just the tip of this right now. And Israel will handle business, and now the U.S. is stepping in. They've got the gear, they've got the aircraft carriers, and they've got our Mossad and our Shin Bet, and we're behind them. And we're going to give them every piece of intel that we have.
Okay.
So I hope the Iranians are ready.
Aaron, those are all really big statements. Let me have you dig into a lot of what you just said with the geography up here in Shujaiya. This obviously being the focus of this latest brief ground raid into Gaza. Can you give us a little bit about what that might have looked like, this brief ground incursion, mostly impacting this neighborhood, Shujaiya? This is northern Gaza, obviously the northern Gaza Strip here. This is the entirety of the Gaza Strip. This was obviously the evacuation zone into the south. But up here in the north, there's this brief ground invasion. Mark Tobin reporting this the second consecutive night of such operations ahead of a looming invasion. This was a brief incursion. Obviously, this could precede a full ground invasion. What was this like, and what would they have been able to learn about a full-scale ground invasion into Gaza?
So what's been happening for the last couple of weeks is Israel's had assets from Israel's got a really finely tuned special operations apparatus. Israel organizes things differently. Instead of trying to create a super soldier who's trained in 20 different things, we treat special operations like medicine. And this is a special operations war. And the reason why is because it's terrorism focused. So you've got small pockets of Hamas terrorists. They're going to want to pop out from underneath those tunnels. There's 300 miles of it down there. So Israel's treating this like the same way a bear would smell a cave before it hibernates. They're intelligence, they're gathering information, and what they're doing is they're sending seyarot, is what we call it in Hebrew, or reconnaissance units to be able to do hit-and-run raids. And those hit-and-run raids are targeting our anti-tank pieces right now. And other storage places right now, and they're testing where these counter ambushes would happen. So selectivity, a little bit of surprise, coming back out. Testing the waters right now as we're destroying slowly. Special operations at its finest right now. This is how this is going to look for a while.
Really interesting analysis into all of that as we continue to remind our viewers, the Iranian proxies and the location of them and these affiliates all throughout the Middle East. Obviously, the risk this continues to pose to U.S. troops and sort of the geography of the surrounding area around Israel. Aaron, really appreciate